It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this is Insight with normally Mayor Fanucci is my guest, but he's not been available the last few months. He's had other commitments, and he said to me, well, I know a good guy that you could interview from Vineland. I said, yeah, me too. So anyway, Sheriff Bob Austino is with us. Sheriff, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good, thank you. I swore that you've been the longest serving sheriff in modern day history, but you told me Bill Riggins, who goes back in the 60s, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think 50s and 60s, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but in modern day, this is tell everybody how many years you've been sheriff.
I'm in my 14th year. Actually, I'm in my 15th year right now.
So you got another 6-7 months to go, right, for the 15th year. So let's talk a little bit about you growing up. Did you grow up in Vineland? Yeah,
it's kind of a mixture. Actually, I was born in Vineland, and the family moved to Florida for a few years.
Oh, yeah? Where in Florida?
St. Petersburg.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
my daughter lived in Clearwater.
My heart's still down there. I love it,
Yeah, it's a great place to be.
And then we moved back, and we lived in Rosenay. Actually, I grew up in Rosenay.
Did you really?
Yeah.
See, now you're a little bit older. I would have had you in school. I was speech therapist in Rosenay.
Oh, were you really at Deerfield Township School?
Deerfield Township School, yeah, for many years. Really enjoyed working there. I always did 2 jobs. I was speech therapist there during the day, and then I did a TV show at night.
What year did you do that?
From 75 to 85.
Yeah, I was long going out there.
Yeah, a little bit, but anyway, it's funny. I really enjoyed it. The good people and a great place to be. You know, the one thing that after you went to Deerfield, did you go to Bridgeton High or
Bridgeton High School? Cumberland Regional wasn't there yet. Yeah.
And then when did you ever think you wanted to get into law enforcement?
Actually, when I was in high school and college, I worked at the Bridgeton Hospital, and I was.
Do you know Paul Cooper?
Paul Cooper, I know him very well. Yes. In fact, I used to park my car in his yard when I went to school, Bridgeton High, because we weren't allowed to bring our cars to school.
That's right.
So Paul let me park in his yard.
And I got a funny story to tell you about Paul Cooper. They were having some ceremony at Bridgeton. I was county freeholder at the time. It's back in the early 80s, I guess. Don Rainier was the mayor. And it was like an expansion, a dedication, something at Bridgeton Hospital. So Don gets up and he says, you know, Paul, he said, we were thinking about changing the name of Bridgeton Hospital to Cooper Hospital. But he said, my friends in Camden took care of you. That's where your hospital is, Cooper Hospital. And I was pretty clever on his part to think about that. But we, speaking of hospitals, I've unfortunately the last 7 or 8 months had to spend a couple of nights there. But I tell you what, I was just in for gallbladder surgery 3 weeks ago or so. But the people were fantastic. And it's an interesting story too, where how lucky we are, and Inspira is one of the sponsors for the program, how lucky we are to have Inspira. A friend of mine, Glenn Lilly, was in the hospital, and he lives in Atlantic County. So he went to Atlantic Care. So I was only in this last time for the gallbladder thing for 4 days. He was in for 7. And he said, Jim, in those 7 days, he had 4 roommates. I said in my 4 days, and then previously 5 days that I had in September, I had no roommates because Inspira has private rooms.
Yes.
Boy, what a great asset.
Kathy was just in the hospital about 3 weeks ago, my wife.
Wow, we just missed each other.
Yeah, and she's raving about the care there.
Oh, it is amazing, isn't it?
It's really come a long ways over the years.
It sure has, Bob. They do an outstanding job. Amy Mansu and all the people there, I just think the world of them. And everybody was so nice and so helpful, and having your own room makes it such a nice thing. You don't have to worry about being interrupted or whatever. It's just really, really nice.
Funny story, years ago I was in I guess it was Newcomb Hospital at the time. They put me in there because my blood pressure was real high. They wanted me to rest. I'm in there, and you had to share a room. Who did I share a room with? Was somebody I've arrested, and their whole family I arrested.
Oh, jeez.
So it was interesting.
God.
Luckily, I got along good with them. But
I guess the blood pressure medicine had to be increased a little bit, right? Yeah, that is interesting as we talk about, but Spirit, how lucky we are to have it. In fact, it was interesting. In 2001, I was mayor of Millville. Chet Kalikowski was the administrator for the whatever the system was at that time, however it was set up. That's when they were talking about consolidating and making one hospital for the county. And I was totally supportive of it, but a lot of my Millville residents weren't. They didn't want to give up their own hospital. I understood what they were saying, but as you look at the hospital system and all the advanced technology and everything else, you couldn't afford to buy that for all the 3 hospitals in the county. And we are very fortunate to have a great facility there. They do a really good job. So, and I laughed because my friend Glenn said to me, "My God, Jim, I had 4 roommates." I said, "I had none." But he's in a semi-private. A lot of them still are semi-private.
Yeah.
You know, I had to go.
Yeah, that private room is nice.
It is, isn't it? It really is. Very, very nice to be able to have that. So anyway, when did you, so you got out of Bridgeton High. Where'd you go to school, Cumberland?
Well, I went to Diversity, then I went to Cumberland County College.
That's right, man. Yeah, right. And then after that is when you got
I got married, and we moved to Vineland, and I worked for the Daily Journal. Back then it was the Vineland Times Journal. Yes. And while I'm there, I worked there for about 3 years. I decided to take the test for the police department.
Oh, that's good.
And luckily enough to get hired by Vineland. I spent 30 years there.
Wow. Did you really?
Yeah.
And now you got almost 15 as a sheriff.
Yeah,
45 years.
45 years.
Yes. That's fantastic. And you love it, right?
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah.
And there's some times when the job is rough.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. But you know what? I wanted to say to you, I don't know who does your hiring. I guess it comes off of a list and things like that. It has been in the past.
We do it 2 ways. We had the civil service list, and the sheriffs are unique that we're allowed to hire what's called investigators, where you don't have to take the civil service test.
Oh, good.
You can just be hired by me, but you're kind of like at will. If I were to lose the election, there's no guarantee you would have job security. But what I do is I hire them, and I tell them they got to take the civil service test,
right?
So they become permanent and have the job security.
Yeah, that is very important. But we televise the county commission meetings, and I've gotten to go over to the courthouse with my people. We take the equipment in, and I've got to meet a lot of your officers who are at the courthouse, and everyone has been a gentleman or a lady, very, very helpful, very nice. And I think that, well, I guess maybe we should explain. There's 2 major responsibilities that come under the sheriff. Tell everybody what they are.
Well, the first, the main one is the security at the courthouse,
right,
for the public and the judges and all the employees there. And then we have our other division, which is the we call Field Operations Division, which can do police work, serve warrants, traffic, and all that stuff. So we're divided into 2 different divisions. Really.
How many officers do you currently have?
We're allotted 65, but like every law enforcement agency in the country, we're down.
Yeah.
And we can't find people that want the job nowadays.
That's sad.
We brought the salaries up, and we're still struggling to meet it.
Although I have had young men come to me and talking about either going to a municipal police department or the sheriff's department. I said, honestly, sheriff's department's got some benefit because you're not, not that you're not on call 24 hours a day, but you don't have that 11 to 7 at night shift that the other,
there's only one person that works all night.
Okay.
Answers the phones for us,
right,
and
gotcha.
Talks to the other departments, the jail and stuff like that.
Yeah, and of course that's something. It's funny, I was thinking about when George Castellini's dad was a sheriff, Joe Zagari was there, and he was in charge of the jail. Now I did see at one point in time, you had said that if they needed you to, you would take over the jail.
Yeah, there was a point when the warden over there quit.
I see. And
they're still in the middle of the federal lawsuit. And the county administrator at the time called me up and said, the federal judge is on the line. You need someone to take responsibility for the lawsuit, make sure it's done right. Would you do it? I said, yeah, I'll step in, I'll handle it. So there for maybe about 6 months, I was heavily involved in the jail, helping run it over there.
Well, I personally, and George Castellini, same thing. We felt the jail was costing the taxpayers when I was a county freeholder commissioner $32 million a year, and then all the lawsuits which constantly come forward from that, and a lot of the closed session meetings when the county commissioners have to meet are on lawsuits that were somehow involved with the jail. And when you look at it at that time, we looked like we were going to, Atlantic County was going to take the prisoners, and it would have been basically a savings of anywhere from $10 to $12 million a year for the taxpayers. And not only that, but that liability thing that we talked about. With
that's the hidden cost that you don't realize.
Absolutely.
You have insurance covered, but your insurance rates, depending on how many lawsuits you lose.
Yes, absolutely. So it was, and I understand, and to the county commissioner's credit, I know they're working and they're trying to do what's right. I've talked to Director Albrecht, and I know some of his ideas I like. I don't know what the final outcome will be, but at least they're moving, in my opinion, in a better direction than we were when I was there, because it was this $67 million facility. It's like, oh my God, I just couldn't see that being a reality, and I don't know where we are. Although I know Director Albrecht mentioned that he's been down to Leesburg and talked to the state about minimum security place.
You got
there.
several ideas you're looking at,
which is good, and I'm sure among all of them they'll come up with the right thing.
They have to do something, because nobody wants to spend money on jails. But the jail we have is antiquated.
Yes, exactly.
It's a maintenance nightmare. It's a nightmare for the officers that are assigned there to try and guard the inmates. It's just the way it's laid out and been built on for so many different years. It's just really poor at this point.
Yeah, it really is sad. And I'll tell you what, I talked to the fellow that was county commissioner from Gloucester County, and that was his department. He had the public safety department. And they had saved at that time over $100 million by outsourcing to Salem. And the win there is Salem County is a poor county like Cumberland. So Salem County got millions and millions of dollars to host the jail facility. And Gloucester County has probably saved a couple $100 million by now. I mean, it's so expensive, $32 million a year just to take care of that. Like we said, not counting the lawsuits and stuff like that.
I know Camden's talking about building a regional jail, and they're looking into maybe getting Cumberland to take part. I know the commissioners are looking at one of those aspects. Because right now we're keeping them up in Hudson County.
Yeah, and that's too far.
It's too far.
Yeah,
it's a good temporary thing, but it can't stay that way.
Yeah, I know Nick Acella and I talked about trying to get the Atlantic County, which would be perfect because it's the closest county. I mean, we're only 2 minutes from Atlantic County. It's here at Lincoln and Landis and Vineland. Because you go down to Mariggy's, that's Camden County or Atlantic County. But I don't know, there was some discussion about whether they'd have to build an addition and those type of things.
I know they were on board with it, and then they backed out the last minute.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I think they have staffing problems like everybody else.
Boy, isn't that the truth? That's what's tough. And when we come back from this commercial message break, let's talk about staffing, as the sheriff had talked about in sheriff's department, police department, corrections officers. It's very, very difficult. We'll be back with more with Sheriff Bob Austino right after these messages.
Life puts a lot of demands on us. There's our jobs, those community and charity projects, our friends, and the demands of the family.
Happy birthday!
Birthdays and homework. The upkeep and maintenance of our homes, cars, and possessions. Maybe it's time to really weigh out the things of greater importance. Our relationship with God. Let us help you. New Life Church, Millville, New Jersey.
I chose the Marco Luisi Funeral Home because they treated me with respect and compassion. I couldn't have gone through all this if I didn't have DeMarco Luisi by my side. They did everything that they could to make me happy, and that was important to me and my kids.
At the DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we're here for you and your family in your time of need.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Welcome back to Insight. My special guest tonight is Sheriff Bob Austino of the Cumberland County Sheriff's Department. He's been sheriff for 14 and a half years and was in Vineland Police Department 30 years. So you got a little experience, I'd say.
A little bit.
45 years, that's pretty darn good. And, like we talked about, trying to find people. I mean, you look around the country, the mass shootings. We've had more mass shootings than we've had days in the year so far. It's crazy. I am not a person that supports AR-15s. I'm not a big gun person. I know I don't fit in with the NRA and all that stuff. But, what gets me is the Constitution, the Second Amendment was put in place hundreds of years ago when there were no sheriff's departments, no police departments. There was no, formal way of protecting yourself. So, and I just think it's gotten carried away, but I know lots of my friends don't feel that way, but luckily I'm not running for office. So
it's a very touchy situation.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, it really
There has to be some controls on it. And, unfortunately, a lot of it is mental health issues, too.
Exactly. And you know what?
And that's where our country's lacking.
It sure is. And in fact, it was interesting. Last night I met the new executive director of the Cumberland County Guidance Center at the event for Joe Durrell, and I forgot it, Maureen was her first name. But anyway, so I want to have you on the program. I mean, when you think about the mental health, here's an interesting story. Between the drug situation, I was volunteering for the homeless several years ago in Millville, and a real nice young fella, mid-20s, whatever, name was Travis. We got talking. I said, Travis, why are you homeless? He said, I'm a heroin addict. 6 months later, he died.
Yeah.
That's what, it's drugs, the mental health, the drug problem, and all that kind of stuff. It's just so sad. And it's just getting worse. And, and trying to find places for the people to go for help. And there's so many drug rehabilitation programs.
And you can't drag them in to get the mental health.
Yeah.
They have to want to go there.
Yeah, that's true.
And that makes it tough with our free society.
Yeah.
That you can't just throw them in there, or you can force them in there if they're going to be a harm to themselves or others, but that's a hard thing to prove too.
Yeah, good point. Well, and I've often thought, I don't know if they can do this, but I would think maybe in some cases the judges could say, look, here's your choice. You either go and get mental health through such and such, or you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, so maybe they would then do that. But it's tough. It really is. And that also leads to why it's so hard when people, men and women, that think they want to get into law enforcement, see all of this horrible stuff going on, and they think, do I really want to do that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Problem with mental health is a lot of people that have the mental problem don't realize they have problems.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to convince them, you need help.
Sheriff, as we were growing up, in the county, there was well, not in Cumberland County, but certainly Aunt Cora was in Atlantic County. Yeah. Is that still operating as a psychiatric hospital?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
I remember driving people over there and dropping them off.
Yeah, I didn't know they still were. And I know Bridgeton has a psych unit in their facility in Bridgeton, of course, part of the Spirit system. But there's so many people with mental health issues. And then, of course, the drugs also add to that. So you put that combination together, it's like so sad. It just really is. I mean, and to the doctor's credit, a friend of mine was complaining about not getting the oxycodone. And I said, they're trying to cut back on that. I mean, I just had surgery and they gave me something that was a little stronger maybe than Tylenol. But, you suffer a little while, but you realize you don't want to get hooked.
But there's a new drug out that they're using, some type of horse tranquilizer that doesn't respond to Narcan.
Oh my God, that's scary.
So,
wow. Speaking of that,
that's starting to hit in this general area.
Speaking of Narcan, County Commissioner John Capozola at one of the meetings had brought up about making Narcan more available, almost like an ATM machine. And somebody was saying to me they didn't like that idea. And I said, well, I think the more available Narcan is, the better off we are, right? I mean,
You'll save lives.
Yeah, that's what I thought, as it is. And I mean, I talked to John Redden when he was with the Billville Rescue Squad and talking about how often the squad would save people's lives with the Narcan.
All the law enforcement in the county all have Narcan. They carry with them just in case.
Yeah, really.
Because we're usually the first ones there.
Yeah,
And
that's
if
true.
you wait for the rescue to get there, it might be too late.
Yeah, which is great that you have that opportunity to be able to help people. But boy, just times have been so difficult and so much violence. And it's just, I hate to watch TV. I mean, it's just, especially those mass shootings.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, come on, do you really need the AR-15s? And it's like, I don't know. I don't totally understand that. I never.
It's a situation where you only need one person.
Yeah.
It can happen in any community.
Sure. Yep.
You can't say it can't happen
No.
here. You have
Right.
to be prepared that it will happen.
Yeah.
And hope that it doesn't.
And I mean, they just go in with the AR-15 and wipe out dozens of people at a time. It's just, and schools and nowhere is really safe. Churches, synagogues. It's like, is this what we want in our country? But they aren't able to make the laws to, forbid the average person to have those things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That puzzles me. That frustrates me and puzzles me. But as I said, I'm sure there's a lot of people who disagree with me. But it's the way that things are that are happening. So, with your 2 units, your security unit for the courthouse, how many people are in that unit? Because you said you could have 65, but you're not up to.
Yeah, we're short about 14 right now.
Wow.
Yeah. We keep, the courthouse takes about minimum like 24 officers.
Okay.
Minimum. Depends on how many judges are sitting on the bench and all. Because we have to move the prisoners around. We have holding cells there. So we have to make sure they're all guarded. And then when it's time for court, bring them into court for the judge, move them around.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's certainly very, very important. I mean, I've been in a courthouse. This was a funny situation that occurred. I just lost the freeholder elections. I got to tell you, the years that end with ones are no good for Quinn. I lost in 1981, I lost in 1991, and I might as well have lost in 2021 because I decided I didn't want to go into that situation. So the ones do not help me, but I'm trying to think of why I got to do that once. But it is interesting when you see what is. Oh, I know what it was. This is a story. I lost in 1991, so I get a jury duty summons in the mail, and I'm thinking, how am I going to be on the jury duty? I was freeholder director, and everybody knew me, and this and that. Well, I didn't know it was grand jury. So then I'm sitting at, where they select the jurors, and Skip Stanger was the judge. And he points to me, goes, "Number 1. Okay. So I ended up being the foreman of the grand jury. That was an interesting thing. I had never done that. And all the grand jury does, they indict or they don't indict as the situation goes on. But I learned a lot. It was very interesting and informative. And I made $5, and I'd go spend 10 across the street for lunch.
Yeah.
It wasn't a money maker.
I believe it's still $5.
Yeah, I think it probably is. But that was something that was an interesting scenario as to whether the prosecutor, can do the indictment so they can move the person on. So you have 24 at the courthouse?
Yes.
And then the others are out. Don't they serve warrants, your people?
Yeah, we serve warrants. They do traffic. They do everything but answer the 911 calls.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Sheriff, thank you. I know when I was in Millville, you were kind enough to lend us other officers to do backups in some of the hoods where we were really struggling, our officers. And I know you've helped townships. I know you've helped everybody that asks for your assistance. And I hear nothing but good things from people because they appreciate that you're there. But you're a public servant. That's what the sheriff needs to do.
One of the things I did when I took over, too, was the radios in the police cars only got the sheriff's department. frequency.
Right.
So I now have radios that scan, and we can listen to all 3 cities too. That way we can back up them if there's something going on.
Right.
And we won't walk into something, unknown that is going on.
Yeah.
Safety for the officers.
Yeah, that really. Now, do you know how many women officers you have?
No, I don't. We got quite a few.
You do? Yeah, I thought that.
We're good with women officers and Hispanic officers.
Yeah.
I'm still having trouble with the African American community. And again, that's a nationwide problem.
It is, yeah. I was going to say all the communities, I think, are struggled there.
I've spoke to the NAACP and stuff, and local community activists trying to get an interest in it. And so far, we're making some progress, but not to the point that I'd like.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I was a wonderful black fellow that I liked a lot at the Walgreen in Millville, and he was talking about wanting to get in law enforcement. I was trying to hook he and Jody Farabella up, but then he ended up moving and went out of the area. But yeah, it is. Diversity is so important.
Yeah.
It truly is. And the other thing that I've seen, I don't know if you've had this happen, but we had a fantastic officer in the Millville Police Department, young guy, #1 in his class, everything else. He comes out, Delaware State Police offers him a job, almost double the amount of what he's making in Millville.
Yeah.
And he goes over there, and you can't blame him. And that's the other thing, you're competing with finances as well. And you did say that, what's the starting salary now?
We've raised it to $43,000 to start.
Yeah, that's better than what it was. That's for sure.
We're chipping away a little bit at it.
So you have 14 openings now.
Yes.
So if someone, and I've had friends, sons or daughters come to me and said, should I go to the police department or sheriff's department? I said, personally, the sheriff's department is a great place to be because of what you're able to do, helping people, with the courthouse things and doing the warrants and, some patrol and stuff. Yeah. But again, unless I'm wrong, at least you're not, you do have one person you said on 24 hours a day. But the other police departments obviously have to go 24 hours a day. And a lot of them, I guess, are going 12 and 12.
Yeah, they're going 12-hour shifts. I think Vineland's like 10 and 3/4 hours a day, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, fortunately, we have 3 really good chiefs in the county. In fact, I just saw the Vineland chief. We were having custard together.
Pedro. Yeah,
Pedro and I.
Me and Pedro worked together,
I said, aren't you law enforcement? He goes, yes, I am. I said, you're the acting chief. He said, I'm the permanent chief. I said, okay, Pedro. And he introduced me to a fellow with him. But you got Pedro, and you've got now in Millville, Ross Hoffman took over for Jody Farabella.
Mike Romero's a good guy.
Yeah, he is great.
Mike's retiring at the end of the year.
Oh, is he?
That's the word I got, yeah.
Oh, wow. In fact, his wife's a sweetheart because she does the jewelry stuff. His wife, Maria. But Mike and I go way back to the Richmond Evening News days.
Yeah, he was a reporter.
Yeah. So, wow. Talk about time flying.
Yeah.
I got elected to the mayor of Millville in 1997. So there were a bunch of rookie police officers on there, and I used to do ride-alongs, got to know them really good.
I remember seeing you on ride-along.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. Ray Morales, who was one of my former Little Leaguers, he said, Mayor, you should go take a ride, do some ride-alongs, so you see what's really going on. And I did. It opened my eyes up. But it was so neat and I really enjoyed the men. Susie Herman and I would go do a real ride-along with her. There weren't many women at that time. But I really enjoyed their personalities, too. That's a stressful job, and several of them had great senses of humor as well. So, I mean,
you have to survive mentally. You got to have that sense of humor.
Yeah, that's a true good point. So, Junior Duffield, do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites, and we had a chase one night, and I was riding with him on a Saturday night, and I was buying him dinner on the dinner break, and we were at Amato's in Millville, and I went into the men's room. I come out, he goes, come on there, we gotta go. So we ran to the car. We ended up there was a fella who was obviously drunk, and he almost hit one of our bicycle officers. So we pick him up at 10th and Main in Millville, and we're on a chase. And I'm thinking, as dumb as I am, I didn't know police procedure. I'm thinking, well, as soon as we hit Marsh River, the state police will take over, and then we'll turn around. Well, no, you know, and I know, once you start the chase, you finish the chase. So we went through Millville, Marsh River, Upper Township, Middle Township, Lower Township, back to Middle Township. Oh my God, it was unbelievable. The guy finally made a wrong turn and went down a dead end place to power plant or something, and we were able to finally get him. And they did give him jail time too for that. But he was drunk and that type of thing. But
it's one of those things that builds up a lot of stress while you're doing it.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Well, here's Junior. He's young. And I'm going, Junior, curve to the left. I know, Mayor. I know. I'm okay, and I'm the passenger. It's like, okay, this is not. But to his credit, he did a great job. And the dispatcher was very helpful too. She stayed with us.
You don't realize it. You're only driving a high speed, but you got to keep using the radio.
Yes.
Watch for traffic.
Yeah. And I mean, what was nice was like Middle Township would get their officers to block the traffic lights, and and Lower Township did too, and Upper. So I don't know about Upper, maybe the state police, but anyway, we were assisted for those type of things if you want. I think the thing that maybe you too, the thing that I enjoyed was the variety of things that go on. As you know, and especially as the mayor, I was able to see a lot of different things happening and see the disrespect sometimes you get from the people, the public, towards the officers, which is not a good situation. We're talking with Mayor Bob Austino. I just elevated you. The mayor isn't here, but we have the Sheriff Bob Austino from the Cumberland County Sheriff's Department. We'll be back with Sheriff Austino right after these messages.
In South Jersey, we do things our own way. We say things out loud, face things head on, and never back down. And that's how we fight cancer. With the most advanced diagnostics, leading-edge technology, and a team of doctors who know how to treat your cancer. And most importantly, we do it right here at the Frank and Edith Scarpa Cancer Center, Vineland, and the Leading Edge Cancer Center, Mullica Hill.
Here and in person, the fabulous Blackwood Quartet.
Come on, help us now. Hey!
Join us for a night of great Southern gospel music. It happens May 19th, 7 p.m. at New Life Church, Millville, New Jersey. Entrance is free, and a love offering will be taken. May 19th, 7 p.m. That's May 19th, 7 p.m. at New Life Church for the fabulous Blackwood Quartet.
I'm Brian Lankin, third generation business owner, Al Shoes. Been at the same location since 1961, our 61st year. We specialize in work boots, work shoes, orthopedic shoes, baby walking shoes, and school shoes. We go up to a men's 17 and a woman's 13. It's $5 off, $25, and $10 off $100 if you mention that you've seen this.
It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Welcome back to Insight. Jim Quinn along with Sheriff Bob Austino from the Cumberland County Sheriff's Department. 14 and a half years he served us as our sheriff. And in the modern day, I mean, I know Riggins was way back, but in the modern day, you're right up there with the others. I mean, how long was Castellini sheriff? 2 terms?
I think he may have been 3 terms.
3 terms, that's, yeah. In fact, I ran with him. The first year I ran in 1981, I actually ran. He was on a ticket with me. And thank God he was, because none of the rest of my teammates ran. They didn't campaign because they didn't need to. Gary Sermon, John Bernard, everybody knew that. Nobody knew Jim Quinn. So Sheriff would campaign with me, and we had a good time.
I worked with George Castellini's brother, Bernie Castellini.
Oh, no kidding.
He was a Vineland police officer.
I do remember that name, yeah, as well. It's really something. So you're, I guess, after you retired, 30 years in the Vineland Police Department, were you able to go at 25, but you loved it so much you stayed to 30?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So then you had a whole bunch of different things you did in the next 5 years, I guess, or so. And then what made you decide you wanted to run for sheriff?
I missed law enforcement. So I figured this is the best way I could get back into it.
Yeah, and that's true because with the 30-year pension, you could go into the sheriff's department. You couldn't get back into the police department and all that. Now, what was your high position with the city of Vineland? The sergeant?
A lieutenant. I retired as a lieutenant.
Okay. And who was chief when you were there?
Chief when I retired was Tim Codispati.
Oh, yeah, I like Tim.
Yeah. When I started, it was a guy named Master Giovanni. Then it was Joe Cassisi.
Yeah.
And Mario Brunetta.
Well, you had some good guys there.
They were tough, but you learned from them.
Yeah, I'm sure. And how many were in the police department in Vineland when you retired?
When I retired, I think we were like 150.
Wow. I give the mayor credit. I know he's very supportive of the police and hiring, as many people as they possibly can. And the thing in Vineland, and I know, Sheriff, 69 square miles of land to cover. And 70,000 people. It's got a lot of big city things that happen. But I'll tell you what, I am so impressed with Vineland. I've been downtown late at night. I've never felt uncomfortable. I just was very impressed with security, presence that's out there and stuff like that. I never ever, although I guess my cousin Harry claims that what cost him Carrie Curley was there. What was that bad bar that cost him the election he caught?
Oh,
right near the boulevard.
Yeah. Sam's Bar.
Oh, was it?
Sam's Bar on Boulevard.
Well, this was on Landis Avenue.
Oh, on Landis.
Yeah.
It was Sharpies?
That's it. Sharpies. Yes, thank you. Yeah. And he said, that's, whatever. But truthfully, as much as I love my cousin Harry, I think losing, he's still alive and doing very well.
Yes.
Because the stress of, being the mayor and sometimes can be very, and I mean, to Anthony Fanucci's credit, he does a great job, and I just really admire, what he's doing, and Paul Spinelli and all the council and all the people. They work together. They really do. And of course, Al Kelly is like Mr. Bridgeton. He'll be there as long as he wants to be there. And, Mike Gamari is such a good guy. That's the interesting thing. The flip side is the city of Bridgeton is like 5 or 6 square miles. Yeah. And Vineland's 69 square miles. Millville's 45 square miles. So we have and Morris River's like 90 square miles. Yeah. The state police have to.
Yeah, if everybody's tied up in Vineland, you got to call from one end of town to the other. It took you a little bit to get there.
It sure does, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, think about here. We're close to Atlantic County. We're at the Quinn restaurant at Lincoln, Atlantis, and Vineland, where they still have the 2 for $25 meals. Unbelievable, folks. Think about it. $12.50. And my meal that I get, I swear to you, I get turkey, stuffing, a delicious vegetable like broccoli or something like that. I get a salad or soup, and I get a dessert for $12.50 if I got a friend. Now, my problem is I don't have any friends, so I got to pay $13.50, I think. But still, it's cheap. I still am happy that I can get such a good deal. It really is. And the food is excellent. The quality of the food is excellent. And if you enjoy wine, they've got the Cedar Rose wine display. They have all the great wines that are here as well. And, it is a great place to come. They're open 7 days a week till 10 p.m. Stop on in and check out the great menu here at the Queen Restaurant on Lincoln, Atlantis Avenue in Vineland. And that one of our big sponsors. Of course, each month we host the mayor or a designee. In this case, we've got the sheriff who's with us. Sheriff, I got to tell you, somebody was bragging up you and Kathy. Kathy's your wife, obviously. And they said, Sheriff and Kathy are at everything. I mean, but you love being with people, right?
And I don't believe on just going out on election year.
Yeah,
I think you have to be out the entire time every year, and we try and make as many events as at least we're aware of anyway, and get to them.
Yeah,
we're convenient. Our children are grown.
Yeah, that's nice.
So it's just me and her at home. So it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah,
now that we're a little older.
Yeah, and you told me Kathy doesn't have to cook.
That's right. I keep teasing her. She don't have to turn the oven on anymore.
We were at a pizza event Tuesday, right? Yeah. And then we're here tonight, and the sheriff and Kathy and I are going to have dinner.
We were out last night.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's right. Sure.
We were
on Leroy, so works out pretty well. Of course, you got to pay, but it's still nice that she's such a great supporter of yours and is there with you, and it's nice for people to see the husband and wife, and she works very, very closely with you, and it's something that is good. One of the things I wanted to mention, I guess you started it, because I remember when I was the mayor of Millville going to the senior events. Tell me about
my triad events for seniors. Yeah. We hold it 3 times a year, either at the Elks Club Millville or the North Italy in Vineland, where if you're 55 and older, we do a luncheon for you. We prepare, my own officers do the cooking.
I see that,
so you get a hot lunch, and we have a guest speaker that will talk about something that deals with the seniors, their interests. And we have vendors there that, again, for seniors, different things they can look at and see. And it's usually well attended, and it gives them a day out to them. They look forward to it.
And seeing friends and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a really nice event. One of the things I wanted to talk about, I mean, I live alone, and a lot of seniors that do, I guess it would make, in fact, I won't mention the lady's name, but she's a good friend of mine, and she had told me her brother and sister-in-law are sort of in the same house, but she's in one section or the other. And they were away, and she ended up falling and was so far away she couldn't get to her cell phone. So I still think, you see that help, I fall and I can't get up type thing. I guess they are still very valuable, right? Whatever. So, and again, there are probably vendors that are at your triad things that you do so that they can
it's very important. We even have music for them, and they love to get out there and dance and all.
Yeah, that's good. That's why I don't know, because I can't dance.
The National Sheriff's Association had a conference out in Indianapolis. So at my own expense, I flew out there and attended this conference and learned how to do it and do it properly, and brought that information back and started the program.
Yeah, it's been running for quite a long time. Yeah, very successful. Sold out. It's free, but
it's free.
It's filled. It's wonderful, and it's so nice because the seniors get to see other seniors they haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And both places, the Elks and North Italy Club, do a great job. I know you were at Jody Farabella's retirement there at the North Italy Club. That was packed.
Yeah.
In fact, I got to sit with Jimmy Sorrow and Sue Sorrow, and they've been friends for a long time. And Jim's running for county commissioner and was the director years. Hey, it was interesting. But one of my years that I got back in, this must have been 2015, I guess, as a county commissioner, or freeholder then. Jimmy was there, and he and I co-chaired the Public Works Department. Well, Sheriff, I don't have any ability. If I couldn't talk, I don't know what I do. I swear. I honestly, I can't even pound a nail. So, Jimmy it could do everything.
Yeah.
So, something came up about dikes out to Greenwich area and all that stuff. So Jim and I go out, and Jim's going, this. What do you think, Jim? I said, Jimmy, whatever you say. I have no clue, but I'm sure you're on the money. But he was, and I really enjoyed working with him. And we go way back. I remember his mom and dad and I flew to Florida together a couple times to places. My daughter was in Clearwater, Tampa. She was going to the University of Tampa, and they were in that same general area to see them. This was many, many years ago. Stuff like that. And today is Jimmy's birthday.
It is.
It is.
Happy birthday to Jim.
Yeah. He's one of my 4,946 Facebook friends. So Jim, he came popping up, and then Sue's a friend that came up.
I'm sure Sue's spoiling him today.
I'm sure she is. She's a sweetheart.
She is.
I love she really does. She's so gregarious and outgoing. And we're talking, these are Republicans, we're Democrats and all that stuff. But when you get, Chuck Fisher always had a saying, which I thought was really a good one. Okay, your R's and D's, but when you get to the meeting, you leave the R and the D in the car, and you go in and you work for the people. Like that.
When the election's over, the politics should stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, from the federal one down, it doesn't seem to be working that way anymore.
Not lately. Whoa, everything's political. Like, holy cow. I mean,
you got to work together to get things done.
Yeah, you really do, and you got to work across the aisle. I'll tell you, one of the best people when I was the mayor of Millville that I dealt with was Nick Silva. He was just there. He helped us. He took me to Trenton. He introduced me to Republican legislators, and he was able to bring back or save the UEZ, and he did it. He had to get Republican senators to come along with him, and he did. In fact, this was funny.
I remember when I was on the chopping block.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I mean, God bless him. He did it. He saved it. The other day I called. I've been trying to get Senator Selden and I are trying to connect so he could be a guest on my show. And I called returned a call from one of his secretaries, and I asked for Senator Acelta instead of Senator. I probably just said that, didn't I? Instead of Senator Testa. Senator Testa. I called and I said, "Can I speak to Senator Acelta?" I said, "I'm sorry, Mike Testa is a good man, and what a great guy. Isn't his dad fantastic?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
I've known his dad since he was a rookie. I was a rookie cop and he was a rookie lawyer.
Yeah.
Him and his brother, the judge.
Yeah, I mean, the Testa
great family.
It really is. I mean, talk about wow. All they've done in the community and in Vineland and things like that. And I really enjoy what the mayor or the senator has been on with me. We've had some really good discussions. I think he's coming up, I think it's the 24th or 25th next week. So I'll make sure Ryan Dorowski publicizes that on our Facebook page, Quinn Broadcasting Facebook page. Nice crowd last night for Joe Durella.
Yes, it was.
They had about 200 people.
Yes, the Lee Boy was packed there.
It was, wasn't it? And if you haven't been to the Lee Boy, folks, that's a fabulous venue. It really is. They do a great job there. And it's set up very, very nicely. So, they got some good shows coming up as well. And of course, Atlantis is rocking and rolling again also, and a lot of good things happening in the area. We're talking with Bob Austino, Cumberland County Sheriff. We'll be back to wrap up the program right after these messages.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Life puts a lot of demands on us. There's our jobs, those community and charity projects, our friends and the demands of the family,
Happy birthday.
birthdays and homework, the upkeep and maintenance of our homes, cars and possessions. Maybe it's time to really weigh out the things of greater importance, our relationship with God. Let us help you. New Life Church, Millville, New Jersey.
I chose the Marco Luisi Funeral Home because they treated me with respect and compassion. I couldn't have gone through all this if I didn't have DeMarco Luisi by my side. They did everything that they could to make me happy, and that was important to me and my kids.
At the DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we're here for you and your family in your time of need.
At Minson.
It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Welcome back to Insight. I'm Jim Quinn, along with Sheriff Austino from the Cumberland County Sheriff's Department. Hopefully Mayor Fanucci will be able to come back with us next month. He's been having some family things he's had to take care of and stuff like that, but I really enjoy all he does for the county. And boy, when you think about it, Sheriff, I mean, we're talking about Jimmy Sorrow, talking about Mike Testa, talking about Mayor Fanucci. They're all Republicans and they all do a good job. They're good people, that we've gotten to know and really respect too, which means a lot. And as we talk about, the D and the R's during the campaign, when that's over, you go and you work and do what's best for the people of Cumberland.
I always tell people, just because they're the other party doesn't mean they have two heads and they're exactly. A monster. I mean,
Yeah, and oh my God, I don't know if you know Joe Sbraccio.
Oh yeah, I know Joe and his family well.
My very favorite Republican freeholder that I ever worked with. What a super, and it's funny, I never, even in Millville, I didn't connect like with one of the guys, so we'd go out, I don't drink, but go out to dinner afterwards and stuff. So when I got on the freeholder board, Joe and I became very good friends. I felt like he was my son. And he'd say, let's go to Town Tavern after the meeting. Yeah, that's great. And then the next 2 weeks later, we'd go to Winfield's after the meeting. So it was nice to have somebody to have dinner with and have to go by myself. And just great sense of humor. What a wonderful family. Oh my God.
And Joe served his country. He spent time, I believe, with Afghanistan and all that.
And that's what hurt because he had to get out of couldn't be at the freeholders. He had to go for 6 months at a time. in Afghanistan.
And still run the family farm.
Yeah, exactly right. And his brother is super, Anthony, he's a state trooper. In fact, he's a sergeant, I think, with the state police.
Dad, Mom
aren't they great people? Yeah, they really are. When you get to meet them, you go, wow, what a great. And you know, it's interesting. I got to tell you the Joe Baruffi story. You know Joe Baruffi?
Yeah.
You know? Okay. Joe is Harry Curley's son-in-law.
Okay.
He's my cousin through marrying Harry's daughter. And Joe Baruffi was the mayor of Buna for a long time.
Okay.
So he's on the show with me one day, and we're talking about, you know, Austino, we're talking about Dorella, you know, going down all these names, and he taps me and says, "Hey, Jim," and like Joe, Joe Pepitone and all these people. He goes, "What do they all have in common?" I said, "They're all Italian, and I love them." I don't think I've met a bad Italian. I mean, to the credit of the Italian people, they're friendly, helpful, you know, people. They really are. I mean, you look at Fanucci, you look at Testa, you look all around of the people that we've talked about. And of course, one of my favorite Italian guys is Johnny Capizzola.
Yeah.
He was a super guy. Johnny and I campaigned a couple years ago when I technically won, but I really lost. And we worked really hard. He hit thousands of homes, banging on doors and stuff like that. I was so impressed with him. And one of the things, too, that Johnny has taught 22 years in the Vineland school system as a phys ed teacher, and the kids love him, too. And in Millville, it was
taught 22
years so
you don't look old enough to.
I know he doesn't, does he? Yeah, I guess he's 44 or something, 22. But I know, I said, stop and think about people that have won elections, especially in Millville. I know in the county, a lot of educators. Well, Darlene Barber was an educator. But in Millville, we had Ed Salmon, Joe Dorella, Jeff Trout, myself for a while. You know, it was like a whole bunch of people that were Timmy Shannon was his coach. Coach is an educator. Tony Cerise, there's another guy. But they touch so many lives. You know what I mean? And that gives you a little bit of an edge up when it comes time to run for a position and those type of things that go on with it. But so you're enjoying it, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
I don't mind getting up in the morning, coming to work.
Yeah, well, God bless you. And boy, you know what, Sheriff? That's the key, to love what you do.
Yeah.
And you do. And you've loved what you've done for almost 45 years, right? Which is really, and I give you a lot of credit as a police officer. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but, you know, you helped a lot of people. And I'm
it's great when you come across people that you've arrested in the past, and not only friendly, but they'll thank you and stuff.
Wow.
I know there's a local minister in Vineland that I arrested for murder. Who turned his life around, and he credits me for a large part of that.
Wow.
And stuff like that makes you feel good, like you have accomplished something in life and for your community.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It truly is. I mean, just being, and that's what people are in, not just the public safety, you know, and even in government. You know, I was always there to try to help people. I didn't have any hidden agenda. I wanted to do what I can to help the people in any way we possibly can, you know, and I know you get to do that more as a sheriff than I did as a freeholder, but still we had some good things that we were able to, you know, do to help people, especially the Office on Aging and, you know, all the things that are available for our county. And, you know, we certainly, I tell you, we are blessed. In this county, we have an awful lot of wonderful volunteers. The soup kitchens, the homeless shelters, there are people that are just dynamic, that just care and give, and you know, it really is wonderful.
I've been to the soup kitchen. I see how important that is. Serves a lot of people, people that are really in need.
Yeah. I know they have a luncheon program at Billville at what's Trinity Social Hall. It's just great to see that these people are able to have a meal. They'll give them some stuff to take with them. And stuff like that. And there are a lot of homeless people in the county, which is so sad. It really is. There is a county shelter, though, folks. I want you to know, out on Mace Landing Road in Vineland. So if you know someone, in fact, my daughter just recently knew someone who was homeless and was able to get it into the shelter. Now, to get into the shelter, you can't be on drugs or can't be an alcoholic, because you have the family unit, and then you have the
single males are allowed there, I think.
Well, I think
had they changed that?
I think so. This guy was a single male. I thought so too, Sheriff, and I may be wrong, but I thought it was exactly the same way. but as long as they are clean, no drugs, no alcohol, I believe because I was out there not too long ago, and they had the 2 units, the family unit, and then they had a unit that was off. But you do have an awful lot of people that are homeless because they have an alcohol or drug problem. They're not eligible. You can't put them in with families and that type of stuff. So, yeah, it really is tough. But the volunteers we have, and you see them that come out and they want to help and be there for us, makes us very fortunate to come look at it. It really does. But now, what's on your agenda the rest of the week? Where are you going to be tomorrow night?
Well, tomorrow night, I actually have to go up to Hamilton to the train station. I'm going to pick up my son. He's coming in from Manhattan.
Oh, that's
going to spend
great.
the weekend with us. And
What's he
his
doing?
Girlfriend. He's a teacher in Brooklyn up there.
Law enforcement?
No, he didn't want to go into law enforcement.
What's he teach, Bob?
He teaches Latin.
Oh my God!
Yeah, we're lucky. He loves education.
Yeah,
he got his doctorate and all. And yeah,
you know, when I'd love to see him because I know this. Adeum qui laetificat, juventutem meam. Quis tuus meas, or quare grui. But I don't know what it means. But I said that as an older boy all the time.
He can translate for you. Yeah.
Adeum qui laetificat, juventutem meam. I remember that. Yeah. But I was an older boy in St. Mary's when I was going there and enjoyed my experience. I tell you what, I had nuns at St. Mary's. They were wonderful. They really helped me, I think, be the person I am today. They were so good with guidance and just really caring and wonderful, special people. I know a lot of people talk about nuns and all that stuff, but I was lucky. I had the Daughters of Mercy. They were fabulous people for me to deal with. I was very lucky to have that, although after them I went to Millville High. I wanted to aid at St. Mary Magdalene in Millville. You know, right now, there is no Catholic high school in Cumberland County. I know. Prep is in Atlantic County, and Alma is in Newfield, so that's in Gloucester County. But they're close by, which is good opportunity. Sheriff, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'll see you around someplace.
Oh, yes.
You know, just let me know where you're going to be. And,
all right.
And tell Kathy thank you for all she does. I appreciate
Thank you.
Our guest has been Sheriff Bob Austino, Sheriff of Cumberland County for 14 and a half years. And we appreciate Bob being with us today. We hope you've enjoyed the program, and I thank everybody here for Rebecca. Is it Rebecca? Rebecca Francis Sheen, who's been producing this show, and Ryan Narowski, who's teaching her all these great things. And Rebecca is graduating from Cumberland County Tech and already graduated from Rowan College. Well, that's a great program. The Rowan College, when you go to Cumberland County Tech, you can take a 2-year program while you're there, so you get your degree from Rowan College of South Jersey, Cumberland Division, before you get your high school diploma, actually. So that's a wonderful thing. And Rebecca has that. She's got a great family, the Francis Jeans. And if you want the best haircuts in town, you stop over at the mall and see her mom and all the people there. It's something designs, right? Contemporary hair designs. Yes, it's a beautiful place in the mall, and stop by, say hi. Anyway, for Rebecca, for Ryan, R&R, Rebecca and Ryan, the Chief and I, it's nice to have you with us. We'll see you soon. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.